John 3, 22 to 36, the final ministry of John the Baptist. Now this is, as I said, the last time we see John the Baptist's ministry in Scripture. As I've said, he is seen in other places, but this is the last time we actually see him free to minister before he's put in prison by Herod for preaching against his marriage to Herodias. Herodias was his sister-in-law. And although John's timeline is difficult, it does seem likely, you remember last time we had some confusion with it, or I had some confusion with it, but it does seem likely that this was when Jesus was baptized, based on the fact that when he went into the wilderness, John was free, and when he returns, John was imprisoned. Now, the place that John and the Lord were working was where the Jabbok River comes into the Jordan. Hence, there was much water. It was an extreme flow. There was another wadi just a few miles upstream, another one just a few miles downstream, and it was surrounded by wilderness. So I think that it's a fairly safe bet to say that this is likely to be when Jesus was baptized. But what we find here are certain elements of truth that should impact on us in a really fundamental way. If we're Christians, then we also desire to see the Lord elevated above ourselves in every possible way, at whatever cost to us. And this is what we see here in John. John seeks to become less so that Jesus would fill the hearts and minds of all. He's not been in prison yet. His disciples are coming and saying, well, look, this is happening, and more people are going to him. But John is not perturbed by it. He seeks to be less so that Jesus would be at the forefront. He rejoices at his receding ministry so that the Lord would take center stage in all things pertaining to the gospel of Christ, pertaining to God. Fear of John's disciples, as I say, is that the Lord is becoming of greater popularity, more popular focus than John. We see it in chapter 3 and verse 26. They came to John and said to him, Rabbi, he who was with you beyond the Jordan, to whom you have testified, behold, is baptizing, and all are coming to him. It's not what they're used to. They're used to people thronging to John. When a preacher speaks well, he must acknowledge that his well speaking is because of God's grace. It is God who makes it possible. If we seek gospel success, it must be put to the account of God, and his work in individuals worked in by his Spirit is not down to the preacher. We look at people like Spurgeon, we have to remember that he was preaching very much in a time of revival. I often think, how would he get on today? Well, the other thing I think is that God wouldn't send such a man today because of his actions. If he did, things might change. But celebrity is not something that Christians, especially Christian ministers, should in any way seek after. Now, I think we have to be honest. There are a lot of celebrity ministers around the world, and people travel miles to see them. But it shouldn't be something we seek after. It may come, as it did with Spurgeon, but if you follow Spurgeon's words, they exalt Christ. You look at his sermons, you look at the books he wrote. Particularly, I think, my favourite book of his is one that most people overlook because of its simplicity, Through the Wicket Gate. It's just full of Christ. I remember the first time I read it, sitting in a park, that water park just to the north of Birmingham, and it just thrilled my soul because he focused on Christ. So his purpose was to exalt Christ, and John understands that anything good that comes out of ministry